All right, coming in at number 16 on our Locked On Senators NHL draft rankings, the most polarizing player in the NHL draft this year, bar none. It's Trevor Connelly from the Tri-City Storm in the USHL.
Ross, we talk about controversy. Let's start with what there's no controversy on, and that's how good of a player Trevor Connelly is on the ice. I mean, you just start looking at the point totals and it jumps out on the page. In with the Tri-City Storm in the USHL, 52 games, 31 goals, 47 assists, 78 points in 52 games. And it's not like he just jumped on the scene, Ross. Last season in the USHL, 24 goals, 23 points, or 23 assists, 47 points in 57 games. So he basically doubled up on what was already an impressive season. And then he kept the points going in the U18 in 7 games, 4 goals, 5 assists for 9 points. So right off the bat, you can tell that this is a gifted offensive player.
Left shot, left wing, 6'1", just weighed in at 160 pounds at the NHL Combine in Buffalo. Elite Prospects, the highest on him at 14th on their list. Bob McKenzie at 15, Scott Wheeler at 17, McKean's at 18, Chris Peters at 20, and Craig Button, all the way down at 27 on his list. Plenty of the off-ice issues are also it almost feels like just a personality trait. Now, I don't know the kid personally. We watched his scouting combine interview where he was kind of given a few softballs. I'm sure the questions from the actual NHL teams were a lot more pointed and tougher, but I just have trouble with The Athletic put out an article, and obviously there's things from years past, and there's no kind of just kind of, turning your shoulder or a blind eye to any of the things that he's done as a kid, like 14, 15. What did he share a picture of a swastika or like at a library? Maybe you can get the exact confirmation on that story. But it's also like the way that his teammates' parents talk about him and that sort of thing. I just look, if I'm making a team, he's on my do not draft list. I just don't think that it's worth the headache or the potential risk. And even when other problems had risen to the forefront, he had chances to learn, and it just feels like every clip I'm watching, he makes a sick play, and he's instead of celebrating with his teammates, the first thing he does, he goes down, wipes the ice, like every goal he scored is to win the cup, and then he looks and he goes, where's the closest kid on the other team that I can chirp? Whether it's a player or a bench, and it's like, at some point, it's like you gotta give yourself some rope to, do the right thing. It just feels like. So I don't want this to be a pile on. This kid's 17 years old. He's got a ton of room to grow in his life, but if I'm making a team, I'm not taking a bet on him. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, Ross, when Katie Strang of The Athletic has a 15-page article.
15 pages?
I don't know if it's 15 pages. Maybe fact check that. But when it's a long article like that, where it's been thoroughly fact checked, and even in the article, it appeared like there's some legal stuff going on here. His parents obviously trying to do a lot to protect him here, which has gone different ways from what it sounds like. And Ross, I believe it was they created a swastika logo out of building blocks in the library, and then he Snapchatted it. He deleted it right away, but people screenshotted it. Obviously, it's the internet these days, so that's not great. He's owned up to that. He's apologized for that. But where things really get bad for me, Ross, is the endless list of people that had something to mention in Katie Strang's article. And it's one thing to be a bad person to opponents and just in general, but when you have teammates that are actively avoiding him, like there was parents saying some of their kids didn't want to go to group functions from their own team because he was there, racial slurs being used on the ice, all these things. I'm all for second chances. Big second chance guy. Nobody should have their life thrown away, especially as a kid, for making one mistake. But like you mentioned, it seemed that this isn't kind of a list of mistakes. It's more a pattern of personality. And that's where things really get tough. He did seem, I thought in that scrum, Ross, at the Combine, he did well for himself. He really said,
think about how think about how hard these guys train for the combine, the physical testing. They're training for the questions too, from the
Totally.
teams and from the media. So
But that's a
I don't know.
smart thing to do.
I think
You've
when
got to
someone
do
tells you
that.
who they are over and over and over again, like anybody can put on a suit and smile and nod. I don't know. I didn't buy it that much.
But where I was going with that though, Ross, was that at least he's turning it on himself. He said, I'm working on being a better person. He's not pointing fingers. He wasn't getting defensive. He was taking it all in and saying, I'm trying to do what I can to be a better person. That's what you want from the kid. That's what you want to hear. So that's good. But it wasn't like one instance with Tony DeAngelo. It was a pattern. And when you have his teammates on New York being sick of him, like backup goalies throwing punches at him in lineups and stuff on his own team, and everyone sees the talent there, but he's not able to stay in one place for long enough because people just get sick of him. And I'm worried that's what you might have here with Trevor Connelly. It's tough to really nail down, Ross, because we're going off reports and what we're seeing. I don't want to put the kid down personally, but just from what we're seeing here, if I'm a team looking to draft someone and looking at spending a first round pick probably on a player like Trevor Connelly, A, is he going to be able to figure it out? You're not sure. And B, what's he going to do to the culture of the rest of your prospect pipeline and his development coming through the ranks here? So I don't know. There's not a lot of teams I think would actually take a chance on this guy, Ross. I kind of have a team like the New York Islanders maybe would do it because their prospect pipeline is so low and they need to really jolt it up here. He could be a guy. I could see a team like Vegas going for it. They're ruthless in their business decisions, and they're saying, hey, as a business, we're getting good value for a player here, and plus we'll probably just trade him before he comes to the NHL anyways. I think this quote, Ross, says it perfectly here. This was from a scout in Industry Chatter on the EP guide. Top 10 skill, bottom 10 character.
Yeah.
Right?
I'd probably say bottom 2 and not 2. Like, look, it even extends on the ice. Like, it's just selfish decisions. In the gold medal game, they're up 1 goal with 10 minutes left, and he takes a stupid head-hunting hit. The play was just a battle on the wall, and he comes out of nowhere, hits the guy right in the head. The Canada goes on the power play, sitting in the box for 5 minutes. Canada ties the game, goes ahead, and then scores the insurance, all while he's sitting in the box. And think about his teammates, who are all on the U.S. national team program all year. Connelly, why do you think he wasn't invited to the U.S. national team program? Let you fill in the blank on that. And now imagine being a teammate. You work all year for that. One of the guys who fills in, whether it was injury or whatever the case may be for the tournament, who wasn't with them all year, comes in and does something like that in the final. Anyways, not my pick.
And USA was winning that game, Ross. Like, not just score-wise, but dominating the play. Like, they had that game in the bag.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's tough. I don't know
how many Sens stars.
I got him at 3 stars, Ross. I don't see a scenario where the Sens would pick him. Maybe I should even put him at 2.5, Ross, because if you're
put him at 0. He's a no guy for me.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. But you cannot deny the skill. There's not one single scout that has denied the skill.
No, he's nasty.
I'm pretty sure Chris Peters even said top 5 skill. Like, the skill
I believe
is there. So I don't know. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to do a prospect profile on a guy like this, Ross, because I feel like we hardly even talked about his on ice talent. But when you're such a red flag off the ice, that's a huge consideration for NHL teams. And we've seen, Ross, teams be like, nah, the value is too good here. We're going to go for it, and immediately regret their decision. We've seen it twice. The Arizona Coyotes with, is it Mitchell Miller?
Yes.
Or Malcolm Miller? Mitchell Miller, they didn't have a pick till the 4th round. They're like, oh my God, we're getting a huge talent here with our first pick. They pick him. Right away, things go bad. And then Boston is like, wow, we can just get this guy for nothing. We'll pick him up too. What great value. Immediately backlash. Bad. They drop him. He's off playing in Russia right now. So, like, is that how you want to spend your draft capital? You're going to have to make a decision.
Yeah, you are. But the skill's undeniable, and that's why it comes in with an average ranking of 19.3. Trevor Connelly is 16th on our Locked On Senators NHL draft rankings.